This is Dr. Michael McNeil here. This is meant to be the video that I was doing yesterday, which was meant to be a very short 3 to 4 minute video of introducing my book, which was based on my PhD thesis, which a publisher has agreed to pick up as a book, a rather expanded book form. However, that one went on for about 21 to 22 minutes, and I was supposed to have said the instructions were 3 to 4 minutes. So this is redoing it and trying to give like a very brief introduction to what my book's about. But really my book's about, it's trying to sell philosophy as a subject, but it's also very specifically looking at Christian philosophy and why Christians should be interested in philosophy, and why in a sense Christian philosophy is the only view, is that you have to import in fundamentals that are unique to the Christian view to make sense of philosophy at all. And many of the problems and in a sense the impasse that modern philosophy and the mess that it's got itself into is very much because it decides to ignore what I would call the Christian transcendentals that allow you to define and come up with a coherent philosophy in which your metaphysics, your epistemology and your ethics are tied together coherently, rather than just in some arbitrary fashion, or whether just in some sort of socially defined fashion or relativistic fashion. And so that's the core, in the sense of what the work's about. I think what is useful is just to give like little snapshots of the titles of the chapters, so that gives you a little bit more sort of concrete feel of the topics that are going to be on there. I am going to be doing a series where I try and work through some of the themes that are in the work, that can for people who are very much more interested in philosophy and really want to dig into philosophy, they'll find that so much more useful. But you'll have to excuse me as I look down. I'm just finding the little synopsis of the book. This is a synopsis I had to write for the publisher, and I think this is useful. This work is about philosophy and what makes a philosophy distinctively Christian in character, arguing that it is indeed possible philosophy to be conceived of as first Christian, and not just philosophy that they're done by people that happen to be Christians. That's an important sentence, to be conceived of as first Christian and not just philosophy done by people that happen to be Christians. Philosophy to be Christian is argued to be epistemologically self-conscious philosophy, arguing in a manner honouring to the revelation of the Hebrew and Christian scriptures. It is argued that philosophy should be transformative rather than just therapeutic or elucidatory. Again, that's a very strong distinctive of the work. Philosophy should be transformative rather than just therapeutic or elucidatory. It examines, using a non-trivial analytic method, competing philosophical and scientific accounts from both the empiricist and rationalist school, arguing that they are coherent and successful only to the degree that they have imported, consciously or unconsciously, Christian transcendentals. We then apply this insight to what should be the character and practice of a Christian political philosophy. Because one of my very strong assumptions about philosophy is that it shouldn't just be something that helps you to understand. There evolved a school of philosophy and a view in particularly in analytic philosophy that the only function or purpose of philosophy is to make clear what somebody's actually saying. And that's a very important function of philosophy, don't get me wrong. G.E. Moore had famously said that if you can't specify very clearly what you actually meant, the probability is you don't actually mean anything. And so I'm very much part of that analytic tradition. I'm not I'm not an intuitionist, or I believe that empirical data is important. I believe thinking is important, and that's why I'm a transcendentalist. And that's what my book's really about, is about transcendental Christian philosophy and understanding. Transcendentalism is associated first with the Manual of Kant. It's really to do with what do you have to assume in order to assume anything, to make sense of anything. What do you have to, what are you trying, when you say you've got objects of reality, they say what do you have to assume about an object in order to make sense of those objects. And that's really what transcendentalism is about. But I'm very much a scientist and an engineer in a previous life, and I'm still working. I write software as my normal day job, but I did a lot of scientific and engineering research in the past, and a life as an electronic engineer. My first 2 degrees were in electronic engineering, and then I went back in 2006 and I did a BD and then a master's in philosophy and religion, and then I just did a PhD in philosophy. And so really this is a long-term trip. I really feel I've got something I can offer for people who are more scientific in their bent, and there's a lot of detailed scientific argument about science and and the difference between science and scientism in the work, which I really feel would be useful. It's useful philosophically. I'm here as an evangelist for philosophy rather than an evangelist for Christianity per se. I'm very much an evangelist for philosophy. So I hope you will enjoy the series that I do. I'm hoping to do at least one a week in the coming weeks that really dig into the book and give some background, and I'll give me some personal background. I'll be talking about other things which really, so you can see where I'm coming from. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you. Bye.